Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Journey Church online campus worship experience. I like that. Isn't that interesting? Online campus. We've only been an online campus for about 9.5 months. And in that time, God has been doing some amazing things. People have trusted Jesus for the first time in their lives. Some folks participating in some online groups we have been blessed in different parts of the country. People have been prayed for while the online service has been going on, and some people have been using the Journey app to log on to the Journey card and then ask for prayer, and we've had a chance to pray for lots of people from different parts of our country. And while our in-person campus is located in Chesapeake, Virginia, our online campus has been a blessing for lots of people. We are so excited about what God is doing in and through the community of believers at the Journey Church, no matter where we are. There's a man, a businessman, who hadn't been to a physical church in a long time. He actually lives in the area, the region of the United States that we live in, and he started watching because one of his employees had told him about the Journey Church online. And he started watching, and he watched, and he watched. And he actually started to give towards the Journey Church. Recently, he actually had a crisis, a health crisis, and he was in the hospital. His wife called the employee that worked for him and asked the employee, "Can you get that online preacher to come and pray with us?" Well, that person called me, and we both went there, and we prayed with this man. We talked to him, we had some fun, but we prayed with this man. I can't tell you how amazing it is to get a chance to go and be with somebody. The family, the man, and the people are blessed because God is using the Journey Church to bring hope and healing and wholeness into people's lives. Now, I'm not going to say I prayed for a guy and he got better. I'm saying that Jesus is the one who brings healing into people's lives. And today that man he's okay. But the prayer means that he got to experience Jesus walking with him through a crisis, not so much delivering him from it, but walking with him through it. Jesus is a source of hope. He is our hope. He brings healing. He makes us whole in far more deeper ways than just physical. Sometimes physical, but deep in our soul. Today we're just going to not have our regular service. We're going to take a break from the series we've been doing called Why Do I Keep Doing This? Which is, you can check out the previous messages later. But we just want to worship today. We just want to elevate God. We just want to cheer about who God is. And what we're going to do is we're going to have some worship music, some songs, and we're going to hear some stories of people who are part of the Journey Church community so that they can tell how God has been moving in their lives. And He has. God has been moving in my life, and I'm excited about what God is going to do next through all the people that this particular ministry touches. So make sure you've downloaded the Journey Church app. If you want to share your story, and we'd love to hear it, would you do it? Just there's a button on the Journey Church app called the Journey card, and just press that, and it'll take you to a Journey card where you can ask for prayer. You can tell us a little bit of your story. You can just tell us you want to share your story, and we'll find a way to capture it and show people how God is moving in your life, as well as all the other people who are part of this community of believers. You see, because that's who we're about. We're about who Jesus is. Jesus, who lived and died. He rose, He lives now, and He reigns with God as God. And while this is very complicated and hard to understand, we believe it. It's just true. So, hey, listen. Maybe you can share, and it's okay to share in a chat, maybe you can share today how you came to be a part of the Journey Church. And maybe today's your first day. Maybe you can just say, I like the Journey Church because, but I want you just to feel free to celebrate what God is doing in the chat. Please log in and just share what God is doing in your life and how the Journey Church is being used. Because when we're part of the community together, it is so cool to hear one another's stories about what God is doing in our lives. And if you need prayer, don't be afraid to click on the live prayer button that's available to you on this platform. Hey, I'm excited for what God is going to do today. I look forward to sharing with you, and I pray that God will bless you today. So as we worship together, don't be afraid to add to the chat about what God is doing in your life. All right? Let's worship together.
So my journey started when I was really young, and my mom took me to a Catholic church all my childhood. And we stopped going for a really long time. Then I met my boyfriend, Christopher, and 4 months into dating, he was like, "Hey, do you want to go to church with me?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I haven't been to church in a really long time." And he was like, "It's okay." So we went together, and I was introduced to Journey Church, and it was the most amazing experience ever. Very scary, I will say. Walking into a new church, a whole new environment with different kind of music and different people. It was very shocking at first because I remember walking in and people were singing and like raising their hands and stuff. I'm like, what are these crazy people doing, raising their hands? I like, you're supposed to be quiet and just sing along. But as I continued my journey with Journey Church, I am now that person who will like lift their hands and sing. And I definitely think Journey helped me get there because of the amazing community that they have. Pastor Nate taught me so much. I was introduced to Miss Connie, my church mom. She got me into Bible study, and that really started to expose me to how amazing the Bible is and like the amazing stories in it. Nate always talks about how when I first started learning about the Bible, I went to him and I was like, "Did you know that people spit and like did all these things to Jesus?" And he was like, "Of course he did, because he's a pastor." But I didn't know, and I thought it was just so shocking that learning about those kinds of things. And now I'm a college student, and I'm in a church group on campus, and I do Bible study on my own every single day. At college, I go to group on Wednesdays, and I get to learn even more about the Bible. And I have a church community at college that is amazing. But I will say nothing will ever top Journey Church. The one thing is a sense of community that you get. It's like no other church. And the way people care for you and have the desire to have conversations with you and to help you grow is amazing. And I've never been to another church that has done that. So I would say that hope, healing, and wholeness are all like together. So once I started my journey with like studying the Bible and like actually becoming involved and an active part in my journey with God, all of those things come to you when you're fully in it. So when I took the choice or made the choice to do Bible study on my own and to explore on my own and learn, that's when I started feeling really whole inside. I felt like I was full, like the piece of pie that was missing was finally there. And I remember like the first couple days after I started doing Bible study on my own, I was like, wow, I feel really full. I feel really good. And everything after that, feeling that healing and like wholeness and hope leads to so many other things. Like I realized that you need to trust God with your financials. So I started doing tithes. I started volunteering a lot more. I came to church every Sunday. I would make sure I kept track on top of my Bible study every single day. So I think it's just the consistency and really believing in yourself and praying and talking to God and doing all those things is what brings you hope and healing and wholeness.
I got connected to the Journey Church via Reagan, our children's pastor. She was the one person that I talked to from my graduating class in high school. And I was at a place in my life where I was going through a lot of hard transitions, and I needed a new faith community, and she invited me to hers, and I came. It was February 2017, and very quickly I knew that this was a very good, very authentic community that really wanted me there and wanted me to grow in my faith and to heal in that place of hurt where I was. And being set up with her small group and doing Bible study with them and getting to explore my faith more fully really, really, really helped me out and has helped me myself grow and build into other people that have come to the church since. And I also joined our worship team roughly halfway through 2017, and that's been an amazing way to worship and lead. That's really always been a calling of mine to do music for God. So it's been fantastic to have that dream of mine. I've just always felt very compelled to serve God in some capacity, and music is one of my gifts and something that I really enjoy and invest in my personal life and also as my ministry. So getting to be on the worship team here has been very, very fulfilling. Really fills me up. When I decided to get baptized at the Journey Church, I had already been baptized as an infant, but I was at a place in my faith where I had grown and been changed so much through God, and I felt like I was a whole new person, reborn with a whole different perspective on our Lord, and I wanted to make a public display of who I belong to. So that's why I got baptized. Now I'm at a place where life has continued. I've always been growing and being built into, and serving and being present with this wonderful community of believers. And right now I'm in a little bit of a down cycle. There have been some hard life events recently, but because I get to be in community and worship with you guys, church, I know that God has it, and it's always going to be okay. I love you guys.
All right. I think before we talk about my experience at Journey, I think we need to start with the journey to Journey, which, I grew up in a Christian household. Super thankful for that. But I found a home church when I turned 14 where I actually felt like I was truly a Christian, where I actually felt at home in a safe place, which was also a church plant. We met in a gym. We had potlucks every Sunday. It was a good community. We built up our youth group, had an excellent pastor, and then I graduated high school and I had to leave everything. And for my journey through college and grad school and my year as a professional, I had a really hard time focusing on my path as a Christian, finding a home church, finding people who were Christians. Even though I went to a Methodist university, I still had a hard time finding people who I could share my faith with. I had a hard time finding time to spend with God. And so when I moved back to Virginia Beach last year, my number one priority was to find a home church again. And I started dating Tim, and he said, "Hey, I have a really awesome church. Come check it out." And I was nervous because I was like, man, I really like this guy. If I don't like his church, then what's going to happen? And I came to church the first Sunday, and I just immediately felt at home. Nate's word just spoke to me. The music was powerful, and the people were just so welcoming. And I remember, people coming and taking me and introducing me to everybody because they say, "You're Caitlin. You're not just Tim's girlfriend." And that really spoke to me because it really made me feel like I could have a place here. And so he took me to his small group that first Thursday, and the group of individuals were just amazing. And it really made me feel like I could connect with these people, and I felt instantly connected to God and instantly connected to the community. And we went for a couple weeks together, and then he called me one day and he was like, "Okay, I can't come tonight, I have homework, but you can still go." I laughed at him because I was like, there's no way I'm going by myself. And but I did. I prayed about it, and I said, "All right, let's go." So I drove to Amanda and Will's house, and I walked in, and they were super excited that I was there even without him. And we had group, and it was great, and I really felt welcomed. And the entire time through group, that's really kind of what connected me to Journey. I think that that's something that we do really well, is we have these individual groups that really bring the community together of all different ages. And I think that's been really good for me. I think that having people that are older than me, the same age as me, going through life, and the people that can share similar experiences, I just think it's super helpful and great. And I participated in the women's Bible study a couple months ago, and that was the first time that I had really had the opportunity to study God's Word in a really focused capacity, and so that was really big for me. And I felt like the understanding piece was so much more. And I just remember I called my mom almost every day because I was like, "Look at this cool thing I learned." And I called my grandma, and it was really big. Like, I had never felt God move quite so much through me, and that was really neat. And so much so that I was asked to lead the women's Bible study this summer, and that was, I couldn't believe that somebody saw or felt that I was capable enough to lead other women through ministry. And then I was asked to lead a small group next year, and the fact that is a possibility for me, and I just never saw it on my journey, but thanks to Journey, it has become a big part of mine. And that's kind of what I really look forward to here, is just the possibilities of pulling closer to ministry and being able to influence and mentor others as I continue to get mentored through my Christian life and continue to grow through that way.
You were pretty emotional when you were listening to Tim. What was it about that moved you so much when you were watching Tim's tell his story?
So my first sermon, actually, with you, with Nate, sorry. Am I talking to you, or if I'm out of time? I was like, I don't know. Well, my first sermon at a Journey Church was the relationship goals one. And the first thing that we talked about was how important it is to pray with your partner. And I think that has been a significant piece of our relationship. And so I feel like we try our best. We don't do it all the time, but we do really, we try to pray for each other, with each other, as often as we can. And so watching him talk about his faith walk and being able to be a part of that in some way is, it's really cool. It means a lot.
Nice. Thanks. That's good. That's a lot.
Held in your hands from the moment that I wake up until I lay my head. I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I You have led me through the fire and the darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Yeah. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me.
Well, I hope you had a great day worshiping with us and hearing the stories of how God is moving in people's lives. So many times we think of church as something that is a part of our lives. But the truth is that we are part of something much greater. God became human, and that's kind of hard to figure out. But he emptied himself of all of his divine power as the Son to be born as a human, Jesus, who lived and then died. He took all that death could bring on him, defeated it, rose from the grave, lives now, and reigns with God as God. It's kind of hard to understand, but here's the wonder and beauty of it. When you put your trust in Jesus, when you believe that he is who he says he is and that he does what he says he'll do, he leads us to a place of real life now and forever, since he's the source of all life. Listen, I'm inviting you to put your trust in Jesus Christ today, to call on his name, to ask him to come into your life and to transform you from the inside out. And then to be a part of a community of believers that are following Jesus. It could be us, it could be the Journey Church, it could be an online community that's growing even now, but it doesn't matter. Follow Jesus, who is the source of life, who brings hope to our darkest moments, who brings healing to our most broken pieces, and he brings wholeness to our most empty places. That's who Jesus is. And so we are a part of something wonderful, God's church, his assembly of people. And as his assembly of people, for those of us following Jesus, we've experienced this transformation. We tell our stories. And so this is the great call. We, the people of the church, we're a sent people that tell our story about how God is doing amazing things in our lives. So I'm hoping that you'll be a part of that. I'm hoping that you'll continue to honor God through worshiping of tithes and offerings, but most of all, listen, as a sent people, we have to be on the move. So no matter where you are watching this right now, understand this truth, that you, church, you are sent, and to go this week and to tell people your story about how Jesus is bringing hope and healing and wholeness into your life. I look forward to seeing you guys next week when we'll pick up our series called Why Do I Keep Doing This? All right, next week.
With my life.